Welcome to This Week with Tammie Holland, powered by Brown and Crouppen. I'm Tammie Holland. The debate over how and why men and women are different and what that means in life is always up for debate, and today is no exception. My guest today is Ron Young, pastor of Impact Church in St. Louis. Now, together, we'll approach the subject with love and understanding. That's what I like to say. Why? Well, because the one thing that none of us should ever do is use the differences between men and women to make a case that one sex is somehow better than the other. Because we all know that women are superior, right? Welcome, Pastor Young. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you doing today?
Happy. I'm happy, and I'm happy that you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
It's an honor. It's a privilege.
Thank you so much. Now, we're having a very specific conversation, or I'd like to have a very specific conversation with you about differences between men and women. But I don't really want to, obviously, you and I would never bash. We would never do that. No. But I just want to be of help. You know, that's my whole thing. If I can help somebody, you know, I want to be of help to a mom who is struggling to relate to her son, or helping a father who perhaps is having a difficult time understanding his daughter. And I instantly thought of you when I thought of this conversation, because I would like to approach this conversation from a biblical and a spiritual context, right? So I'm thinking that I'm going to the source. I think that we can handle this.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll
cool.
do the best we can.
We'll do the best that we can. Yeah. Before I get into my questions on my phone, could you maybe, I don't know, maybe this is a question that is unable to be answered, but could there be some biblical reference that would instantly maybe give a reason why men and women are different? Like instantly, I think about Adam and Eve and the garden and all. Is that where perhaps you would go?
I think that's a good start.
Yeah.
And God made us different intentionally, right? And so that intention kind of builds the case for community and unity, and that not one single individual or human has it all, but to show that we need creative help in various capacities. And so from your perspective of what you just said about Adam, God said it's not good for him to be alone. He needs help. And so when woman was created to help man, you later find out, short end of a long story with Paul, in marriage, right? When you go that far in relationship, he says, one is not greater than the other. You're both human beings, but then you have, divine roles in which you play. And when you look at God himself, I believe in one God eternally existing in three persons, God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The three make God, and they are in perfect unity with one another. Mm-hmm. And so what we are able to see from the relationship between man and woman is a tidbit of the unity between God and himself. And so I think it's definitely on purpose that he made us that way, but we just have to learn the different variations of humanity to better cope and communicate and how to excel in that. So.
And it is oftentimes very consuming and very, very confusing. Mm-hmm. Very confusing. I'm going to read a couple of questions that might have the possibility of a few different answers. Okay. And then I'd like to dialogue about it, if that's cool.
Let's do it.
Okay. Which is believed to be the same in men and women? General knowledge about emotions, expression of positive emotions, expression of negative emotions, and the expression of all emotions. Which is believed to be the same?
Man, wow, awesome test I'm about to take here. I am going to say negative. And the reason why is because the way the human brain is set up is that we have this infatuation and draw to negativity across the board, right? Even when you look at the political ads, there was a a study, especially during the time when Obama ran, if you paid attention to that, Trump, that it takes 10 positive ads to wipe out that one negative. So when politicians campaign and they're campaigning against their opponent and they're putting that stuff out, there's this tendency in the human brain to remember the negative side of things. And so I think men and women probably come closer to a common ground of negativity than any other area of emotion, if that makes sense.
Yes. Which of the following statements, Pastor Ron, is most likely to be true about the differences between men and women in relation to emotional reactions? Okay. A, men are more emotionally expressive than women. B, men experience emotions more intensely than women. Women express anger more frequently than men. That's going to be your C. D, women tend to hold on to emotions longer than men. And E, men display positive emotions more frequently than women. And it's which of the following statements is more likely to be true about the differences between men and women? And then, because I have this textbook answer, and I'd like to know what you think about it. Can I tell you what the textbook
Please
answer
do.
is? The textbook answer is none of the above. The textbook answers that we all have the ability to experience these same things. And in this respect, the textbook answers that we're all the same. Do you agree with that?
Man.
That men experience emotions more intensely than women. Who's to say?
Yeah.
And that women tend to hold on to emotions longer than men. Who's to say? That's for all of us, correct or no?
I agree with that based off the key word that you used.
What was the key word?
Ability.
Yes.
Because we all have the ability to do all of those things. And I think the language in that makes all the difference in the world, right? And of course, that's, generalizing all men, all women, when the real fact of the matter is, especially as you grow in life, you discover people are literally different. Now, there are some things that we share in common as men more than we do with women and vice versa. However, I have seen what I would consider at times some overly emotional men. I have seen some very underwhelming emotional women. And so there is a case-by-case study. So to generalize that, I think, you can run into an issue there.
Sure.
But when it comes to the ability, God created all of us to share in all of those type of emotions.
In your experience as a pastor and in your comings and goings, I would imagine that you probably do a lot of counseling.
Yes.
Do you find that most men, or without, obviously we don't want you to give instances or stories in that respect, but do you find a lot of men still to this day having issues with expressing themselves emotionally or being vulnerable?
Absolutely. And I also think it's not just men per se, it's from what generation did that man experience or come out of. I'm the end of Gen X. And so the way we express things, I've learned from boomers, right? This new culture and generation of...
You hang out with old people.
Yeah. I got 5 older sisters, right? And I'm the youngest, so...
Right. I'm sorry.
But in that vein, I think, it's a generational thing with how we kind of handle that. But overall, I still do think that men are less expressive from my personal experience. Unlike myself, I am a communicator. I express, I tell you how I feel, I tell you what I think. And that could come from my profession, right? To learn how to communicate that. But I don't think overall as men, we do well with that, no matter what generation. But this newer generation, I think, does it better than times past.
So speak to, from a counseling perspective, having walked the walk and talking the talk actively right now, speak to the woman who may be a little bit too emotional. Is it possible for us to be too emotional?
Yes, I think it is for any person to be too emotional. Here's one thing that I tell our congregation, I tell people when I counsel with them, and to those of you who are watching right now, I want you to hear me and hear me intently. Emotions are notorious liars.
Explain.
Your emotions will cause you to do things.
Oh, this is so true.
Will lead you into delusion.
This is so true. I get it.
And have you responding in ways that go against logic and reason, right? And so if you do not have a discipline to cap that emotion, how many times have you in life, and not necessarily you, but in general?
We can do me.
Okay, well, you, and you knew you shouldn't have. You knew you shouldn't have said that. You knew you shouldn't have did that. You knew you, and I mean, and you just had to let that emotion out. And then there's a consequence and a penalty that you've
Almost
paid.
instantly.
There you go. And your emotions lie to you. Girl, you better tell him what's on your mind. You better go over to his house and see who over there, anything. and really the outcome of that, it does not pay the dividends. And I think we are, and that comes from a very subjective place, right? I feel where logic, logos, reason, when men in times past, Greco-Roman era, right? They'll come to each other and say, let us reason together. Let us share thought with emotion to the side and put the objective facts on the table and let's converse so that we can come to a conclusion. And I think that we have to do a better balance of that. It's not that emotions are bad, but a campfire in the forest, it'll keep you warm. You can heat up your food. But
Or it'll burn the whole
it'll turn
thing
to a
down.
forest fire.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's
Right.
what being overly emotional will
Right.
do.
I find that it is difficult for my 17-year-old, but she is 17-year-old, to function with ultimate emotional intelligence. I think that that's something that perhaps maybe lots of people, well, not lots of people, but people do struggle with that. It's very difficult.
Yeah, they do. And because we don't think about emotional maturity. And
So cutting you off,
yeah.
emotional intelligence, speaking man versus woman, as we're having this conversation, like who do you find, or in your counseling and in your travels, emotional intelligence, who's functioning better, who's winning, the man versus female in your respect?
Y'all, please don't not like me.
We need to do this. I want to have these because can I just tell you that, just like keep it real? Like I don't understand a lot of, and when I say this, it makes me feel like an old person. I don't understand the perspectives of a lot of young people, young women and young men, and that whole component about emotional intelligence. It's so very, like, it's a distant thing. It's like an unheard of thing. It's like, because everybody is, it's all about me, and it's what I want at the time. And so I'm thinking that a lot of young people, both male and female, fail like by leaps and bounds with understanding the importance of not functioning from such a selfish perspective, to believe that you have to express yourself at any moment, at any given time. It ain't always about you, boo. It ain't always about you.
I agree.
Okay, did I just
And
get,
I love
did
the
I
passion.
just get mad?
She just,
Did I just get
I think I
mad?
got some offerings.
Okay, something.
So I know that the emotional intelligence terminology is this somewhat new thing for us,
Yes.
right? And when I use it, I try to use it when the context is appropriate. What I have discovered is more times than not that people use that phraseology and it does not apply to the context. So more times than not, I personally use emotional maturity, because someone can be intelligent and immature.
Okay, got you.
And so from my perspective, what really do you mean by having an emotional intelligence? What's the litmus test for IQ, for emotions, right? Like who said it? Where is it? Like, what's the standard? I don't know. I just know people use it a lot, but it has to be something substantive to that. So, but maturity says, I know when to open my mouth and when not to. To me, that's not about intelligence, it's about maturity. It's when do I speak up for myself? When do I have a righteous indignation, and now this is appropriate for me to really tell you what's on my mind versus hold my peace. For me, that's a maturity thing, and I think that comes along with experiences in life and people feeding you wisdom that you adhere to. And I think the two of those meshing together helps you be a more emotionally responsible person. I don't know what somebody's emotional IQ is, but I can tell you whether they are immature or not.
Okay. So who's winning that race there?
Again, do not dislike me.
So
I think it's tied. And let me tell you why.
why?
Because a man who does not express emotion does not make him mature. It just makes him silent. And sometimes based off that circumstance, maybe you should have said something. Maybe you should have been more communicative in what you said. Versus on the other hand, where we culturally have labeled women being overly emotional, if we took that litmus test and said, well, maybe you should have known when not to say anything. So it really depends on, I think it's a false dichotomy of saying who is better with being emotionally intelligent than not. I think the question is, for me, who may overly express and who under expresses. So I think women may over express versus men under expressing.
Understood. Got it. You are a girl dad.
Super
girl dad, and I think that is so very awesome. I have a friend who is also a girl dad, and he is having some struggles right now dealing with his teenage daughter. He used the words, Tammie, I don't know the language. I don't know how to reach her. You know, she's not a troubled girl, but he just does not, he says, I just feel like I can't get to her. Like we were all at an event together, and we spent hours inside of a building, but the daughter would never come inside. She stayed in the car on her cell phone the whole time, and she was very much happy about that. But the father didn't know how to express, to say, listen, this isn't safe, this is dangerous, and I don't like it. Give me some advice, or maybe some suggestions as a girl dad, because obviously there's, physiologically there's a lot of things that go into the inner workings in making a young woman into a woman, and it causes us to sometimes maybe react to things a little differently, right? But having had experiences as a girl dad, what kind of advice can you give to a dad like my friend who just wants to be able to reach, just to get a point across? Like, I don't even think that he can get a point across, is what I'm saying. Like, what could you tell him just to be able to effectively communicate, or begin working towards effectively communicating father to a teenage daughter?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, because I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves without analyzing the scope of things. For example, I have a 17-year-old daughter. She's about to be 18, graduating this year. She's introverted. She's like her mom. My youngest, who will be 13 this year, she's going through this preteen stage. Hormones are changing on both ends, right? She has more of my personality. And so now there's this case by case where communicating with each of them are different. And so it's harder for me sometimes to get a point across to my oldest, just because of the difference of personalities, where she is in age, her ontological makeup, and how though her hormonal changes.
You just dropped a word on me.
Who she is, and how she's made up, what makes her in her human form.
All right, cool.
And so I think for us dads, like your friend, I think the biggest thing is just love your child. They won't understand it all. You won't get through that day every time. And you just got to pray that one day what you said will eventually resonate. Sometimes we can't always expect a return on the investment that day. Mm-hmm. And so you have to speak and tell the truth to your children in love. Mm-hmm. And if I go in with this mentality of, if I say it this way, maybe she'll listen. You can't do that all the time, because it's not going to happen. Whatever happened in her day, she doesn't want to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. She may tell mom, she may tell her friends, and won't tell you. And you just asked her, how was your day? Fine. How was school? Good. And that's all you get.
Yeah.
But you had an 8-hour day. So I think it's just loving them where they are, communicating the best you know how. There is no dummy book for parents. You know this. And let God eventually, whenever that time it is, sprout that seed that you put in. Because how many times have we looked back and said, oh, that's what mama was talking about?
So many times in my life, yeah. Right?
So just keep planting the seed, brother. I'm telling you, man, like, we all go through it. You are not alone. Mm-hmm. Just love them. And when they see that you love them, eventually at some point, one day, they'll open up, because they realize the words you're saying is from a caring place, not a you're trying to beat me over the head place.
Got you. I don't know how to phrase this question, but it is a pet peeve of mine. Single mothers of sons. I can't stand it when people say things like a woman can't raise or can't make a young man into a man. That a woman can't effectively raise a son to being a great man. I don't like that. I can't stand that. I know some wonderful mothers of sons, single mothers of sons, who are fantastic and who do great jobs. I know some that really, that maybe they could use a little help. Speak to the whole philosophy around, I don't even know if we use the word philosophy, but the myth that women are unable to be effective boy moms and turning out good sons.
Okay. So again, language is important to me.
Okay.
So when you use the word effective, mm-hmm. I do believe that single mothers can be effective in raising sons. I do believe. I have a relative of mine, and he was a single dad. I have a best friend right now. He raised his daughter, and shout out to Bishop Jackson for that. But even in those situations, you can be effective, but I can only take you so far, because I have a dimmed view really of what it means to be a woman. I can show you, I can teach a girl what not to do based off my experiences. I could teach my daughters, how to be based off what I've seen other women do. Mm-hmm. I could teach them about life. Mm-hmm. So I can be effective. Mm-hmm. But to say this is how you become a woman, for me, I think I got a ceiling there. It does not mean my effectiveness has a ceiling. What it means to me is that I can't empathize with you about cramps. Mm-hmm. But I could be effective and go get the pads and get other women to help you talk you through it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make me less effective, yes. But I can only share into your story so far. Yes. And then there's some things you're just going to learn along the way as you grow up and shape yourself. So I totally understand what you said. I agree with the effectiveness, but to teach you how to be a woman, or to teach, I think I have, the ceiling could be high, but I still think I have a ceiling, because at the end of the day, and not to go too far off subject there, but even with the court system, to tell a woman what to do with her body in whatever way, yes. Whatever you believe, the end of the day, I don't know what it's like to have to go through that. And then I make a decision for you in that area of life. I have a ceiling there.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
And understood. And understood. Okay, so I never wanted to make this about me, but I feel like I want to hit into the counseling session.
Come on, let's get it.
Can you open the doors
I won't
for
even
me?
charge you. Come on, let's do
Okay,
it.
you're going to charge me?
I won't.
Okay, good. All right. So let's talk about. So I am a single person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing, that I think that personally I struggle communicating well with the opposite sex. I am not always alpha female, but I am very assertive and very strong, and I don't have time for a lot of things, right? Give some advice from a male perspective on how a strong Black woman like myself, okay?
This should be fun.
A strong Black woman. Like, I don't want to coddle. I don't want to change who I am, but I think that it would be very important for me if I so choose to attach to someone, that I'm going to have to learn how to become a better communicator, or maybe even bring it down a notch. But I don't know how to do that. What can you tell me? I don't even know. I didn't put that in even question form.
No,
that
yeah,
was
no.
just like, I'm swimming. What's going on? And I just need some. What do you think about that?
Man, I think that has a lot of tentacles to it. Okay,
It does.
And I
does.
just
and
kind of
it's way loaded. I
it's
know.
oh my gosh, I'm talking about
it
hot
is.
potato load.
I know.
I think so. Let's start with the obvious. Can we start with the obvious? Now,
No.
y'all may not want to hear the obvious, but I'm gonna give you the obvious. One obvious is
I'm scared. So scared right now.
when you really are into somebody, you will adjust whatever.
This is very true.
Even
very
how you
true.
communicate.
This is very, very true.
You will even when a woman is into a man like that, or she trying to get to know, or she like, hey, she will even submit how she communicates.
Okay.
Where you might be loud and boisterous with Joe Blow over here, but when this brother over here gets your attention and he demands that without being controlling, you inertly you will go,
Yeah.
okay, he's gonna take the lead on,
Yeah.
etc. Now, and it does not shun, and it shouldn't shun your ability to vocalize your thoughts, views, and opinions.
Okay.
So that's just one natural way. Okay. The other thing
And that is, and so you're saying, yes, you are absolutely correct. That is right.
Yeah.
I would function in that respect, just like that.
And I could see that, because if you are alpha male, female, it has to be an alpha male where you believe they deserve that kind of respect, and it has to be a natural thing for you. For you, I think one of the struggles could be is if you have to make yourself have to respect them, then you say they don't deserve it.
Yeah. Or if I feel like I got to work I got to do anything extra.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, though, right? Because at some point when the newness of that vehicle, comes off and that shine ain't shiny no more.
Yeah.
That's going to have to play a part, that work ethic in maintaining that relationship and how you keep that peace. Because at some point, you know how it is. When you first start dating somebody and talking to somebody and you are in this puppy phase, everything is, I don't want to offend that person because I'm just so into them, and peace is a priority. And then once they finally get settled in and get to know each other, then communication breaks down, and then, where you didn't curse at them before, now it's sliding in. When you didn't argue before, now it starts to change because of your level of comfort, versus saying, hey, in the very beginning, if I'm this way, I want to maintain this, and I have to put forth some effort into it, because at some point the dynamics of our relationship will evolve, and you have to evolve with it, while at the same time maintaining your priority. And so that's just one tentacle. Now the other, when it comes to being a better communicator, is that you just have to want to say, this is the kind of person I want to be. Regardless if I'm with this guy in any relationship, how do I show empathy within conversation to say that it's not just about me, but how do I enter into the world and communicative universe of this person, because it's not always about my ideas. And usually what that does, you ain't gonna like this, it's a lack of humility and humbleness when we struggle to be compassionate about other people's conversation.
Yes, that is definitely not me.
Good. Because I was gonna say.
That is definitely not me. Number one reason, I mean, obviously, I think that we have in life right now that and see, sometimes I don't know if I like to buy into that there's a shortage and that there are more women than there are more women than there are men.
You don't want to buy into a statistic that shows to be true.
No, because I think that we can date outside of our race. We can go into different circles and different channels and avenues and meet people, right?
You can, but it's still more women, and that's talking about any ethnic group of people. It's women outweigh men, no matter what color you are, statistically.
So there's nothing that you could say is the number one reason outside of the fact that women outnumber men. There's no number one reason that we could say that women are single today.
No, oh gosh, no. I mean, you are loaded with loaded stuff. No, you can't say that there's one single reason. That's a multifaceted, no, you can't. But to your point though, what it does when you talk about the African American, if we were to limit it to that scope and say it's more black women that outnumber black men, right? So how do I lengthen my option? Then you could go outside your ethnic group, and that opens up more of a window, but women are still outnumbering men.
Got you. Yeah. Okay, so let's get off of that. All right, let's get off of that. Let's get off of me.
No, let's get away
from my pity party. Let's
I
not
don't
do
even
that.
know if I helped you though with the communicative thing with you. Are you sure?
No, actually, I did. I gathered a few things.
You did.
I gathered
at least a couple things.
I gathered here. Bam, bam. Got it. Okay. Maybe a couple more things before we check out of here. I think that a firm foundation when raising our children is paramount in helping them to become wonderful men and women, right? Be it spiritually, be it educationally, be it emotionally. Give some advice to young parents and parents starting out. If we know that there are some obvious common differences, not just with our bodies and our physical makeups and differences between men and women, what could a parent do right from the jump, right from the very beginning, that would aid and help in creating boys and girls that are effective communicators, that would be able to be effective communicators as adults and good in their relationships?
Oh, man.
Are we talking that examples alone? Because I know that it takes I function by examples, and there are people that I see, I want to emulate, and I admire them. So I get that. But what could parents do from the beginning to help their children so that when they become adults, they might know better and be able to be great in relationships, not just in romantic relationships, but in the workplace, or in our casual dealings with the opposite sex? What do you think we could do, or they could do? Because, honey, I'm done with that.
Yeah, I think probably.
I did not call the pastor honey. Sorry.
It's okay. You're a good old church mother.
Okay, yeah. They call me on the radio. I'm over there on the radio. They call me Sister Shirley.
Bless your heart.
Amen.
I'm gonna change your number to Sister Shirley.
Sister Shirley. Yeah. Amen. Amen.
Not
Sister
the Shirley is this Barbara, but
right. Because wait, don't leave me hanging. We don't want her. Okay, we don't want her.
Love it.
Want her. Okay, come on.
I mean, to be honest, in that perspective, again, you are really having some loaded questions. Because I love them.
Because I think that there are a number of people who really, like a single woman like myself, I don't often say, oh, maybe I'm I'm single because I didn't do this right or I didn't do that right. I mean, I have those moments like that too, but I think that people want to evolve. I know I want to evolve. I want to grow. So I always want to have my platform be a place where people can take something away from.
Yeah.
Like this. I think this is important.
And that is the plank in which I was about to jump off.
Come on.
From. You said, I want. So if you, for the question to say or be stated, what can young parents or whoever who, want are raising these children, boy and girl, how do you get them to be effective communicators? The first thing is, as the parent, you have to want it. You have to see the need, the desire, and have that as a priority in your own personal life. I cannot teach my children what I don't find necessary and a priority myself. And so if I don't, however I communicate it up until this point, if I have nothing to contrast that against, I don't even know it's a problem. And so I'm going to teach my kids to communicate the way I communicated because I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Right.
And so for that person who does have this great awakening to say, I want my children to be effective communicators, the first thing they need to do is check their own life and say, where am I on this continuum of being a good and effective communicator? And then if you say I'm falling behind, go find a therapist, seek counseling. They will teach you by default on how to express, how to talk, how to get things out. And when you see how valid those situations are in your own life, the validity of being able to communicate, then you say, hey, now I need to pass this down to my children.
Yes.
So the first thing is you find it a priority. Now, for the parent who does believe that that's a priority, I think in so many levels, the way they raise their children, the affection they show, teaching them more advanced things than their age, helps them develop skills of detail and communication. Because one of the things with communication I think we forget is detail. Communication only works if what you say is received. Because you can say a whole lot of nothing, I ain't getting nothing out of it. That was not effective. You just, right? When you use your cell phone, it has to bang a tower and it has to hit the other person's phone. Other than that, you sent a signal, but it didn't communicate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Pastor Ron.
Oh, gosh.
Come on already.
Yeah.
Come
And we do
on.
that a lot, even relationships, which is why a lot of us don't even, it doesn't work out. And so guess what you end up doing?
Come on, what
you
do I
end up
do?
paying a lawyer
Come
because you
on.
couldn't communicate this whole time.
Yes.
So now you got to pay somebody to communicate for you. You go sit across the table and they go say, this is what they said they want. This is what they said they want. This is how. So at some point, communication going to have to happen. And if you can't do it together, somebody's going to have to mediate it for you.
And on that note, I'm going to say thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I've had a great
Wow.
time. I love it here. This is wonderful.
Yeah, and I appreciate you because I have a great deal of respect for you. I have visited Impact Church, Impact St. Louis on numerous occasions. I am very much fed by the wonderful sermons that you deliver, and I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
I do. Please, with my friends here, tell them how they can find you on social media, how they can find Impact Church, because woohoo, Impact!
And I so appreciate her and even her faithfulness and supporting Impact. Like,
Thank you.
That's amazing. And
Thank you.
And I know it was off air, but I was telling her, people was coming to me, I ain't seen Tammie at church this week, and, so I told her that they was missing her, but she's either online, she's faithful. I appreciate her support.
Amen.
And you can find us on social media, Facebook or Instagram at Impact Church St. Louis or Impact Church STL. You can look either one of those up. You can find us on our website at impactchurchstl.com or .org. And you can find me from my page, just Ron Young. Easy find.
That is so awesome. And when you go over and you look at the church page, I think that you'll be most impressed and most touched. I know that you all have a program right now going on where you're teaching children how to play the violin. And I just think that that is so wonderful. I love the fact that churches should be an extension and of complement to a community.
Yes.
And you all do a wonderful job at that.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you so much. Yay, 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 yay. And a very big thank you to Pastor Ron Young for joining me today. His message is so powerful, my friends, and his ministry is so inspiring. Connect with Pastor Young and Impact Church St. Louis on social media to stay inspired. And of course, if you're in Missouri, Illinois, or if you're in Kansas and you've been injured through no fault of your own, reach out to my good friends here at Brown and Crouppen. They will take such good care of you and get you the compensation that you deserve. Visit their website at getbc.com. Of course, I can never let anybody get out without sharing goodies from my good friends at Brown and Crouppen. Wear with pride, I'm hoping. And of course, I got to tell you that in this bag is something that is most good. I don't know how you are with the pizza, but there's a pizza cutter in here.
I love
it. That really, seriously, we could probably sell it. Like this, it's the best pizza cutter on the
I
planet.
thought you were going to pull it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It is a magical pizza cutter. I'm excited about this.
And it's how they do it on new social media. They take that hand like this and they do this. Okay? Yeah. There's your pizza cutter.
Yeah, and so it's not even just a basic. It's a.
So you don't know about a pizza cutter?
I do. I know the traditional ones that you hold and you.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pastor Ron.
yeah, please come
Pastor
up, show
Ron, let
me.
me put you on right
Yeah.
now.
Everybody in my congregation knows I don't cook, so this is going to be fun.
Oh, Pastor Ron, you don't even have to. You can do it
Oh,
like.
yeah, that's
so Pastor
cool.
Ron,
I
all
didn't
you
see
got
it.
to do is do like this here. Okay?
That's sweet.
Pastor
love it.
Ron, you in business with this here.
I'm going to start cooking now.
You're not gonna cook, but when
Okay,
you
but
get a
I'll make a
pizza,
pizza.
like
Yeah.
a frozen pizza, then you got something for your frozen pizza. You can slice it up and pretend you're at like the place with the Provel cheese
On the hill.
or wherever. Thank you. Thank you so
Love
much.
it. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
This is awesome.
Until next time, I always say life is death without adventure, and adventure only comes to those who are daring and willing to take chances. Take some chances. Have a great day.